Nigeria's Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has urged industrial conglomerates to support efforts aimed at revamping and growing the economy. He also warned that the CBN would not support the importation of items that can be produced in Nigeria. His reason was that the country could not spend its foreign exchange reserves on what would not boost the economy and generate jobs for Nigerians. While acknowledging the challenge of low crude oil prices to major economies of the world, CBN Governor expressed confidence that the price of crude oil would not remain at low levels for a long period. Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu joins me in the studio to discuss these stories. Chika, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start with the NLNG Ltd commissioning in 2025. 31 lenders. I mean, what's your take on how this is moving on?
The NLNG is one of the success stories of the country. Indeed, when you put it side by side with our refineries, with the miserable refineries, now you can understand why sometimes they tell you that it's better to own 10% of something than owning 100% of nothing.
Right.
You know, we, Nigerian government, through NNPC, owns about 49% of the NLNG company. And Shell, Total, and ENI own the balance 51%. And the interesting thing about this also is that, you know, is 100%, the management team is 100% Nigerian, and then 95% Nigerian staff. You know, so you can see it's a Nigerian success story.
Yes.
And it's been left, even though it's it's owned that way, it's been left to run professionally. And so you can imagine what would have been if our refineries and other national projects littered in the country are run in this kind of way.
Yes.
So it's been a success story for the country. In the last 31 years, more than 108 billion in revenue, more than 17 billion in dividend given to our country through NNPC, about 8 billion paid in taxes to the government, you know, and they supply more than 50% of the cooking gas in Nigeria. So in all parameters, and it's so much involved in CSR, and you have never had any scandals or any funny thing about the running of the company. And so it's a very success story for Nigeria, and we wish that other Nigerian companies, you know, owned by the government, are run in this way. 6 trends so far. The trend 7 is an expansion project.
Yes.
You know, which has been on the table for some time. Total money required was $5.7 billion. The lenders were going to provide $3 billion, and then from the cash flows of the company, they provide a balance of $2.7 billion.
Okay.
The objective of the investment will expand their output from about 22 to 30 million metric tons every year. You know, so it's a major expansion for them.
Yes.
It will actually put Nigerian LNG, Nigerian LNG as the 5th largest producer, you know, and exporter of gas worldwide.
Okay.
You know, so it's a massive project. As you said, 31 lenders have been put there. Somebody asked the question, why this number of lenders, you know, and it's because when the cake is sweet, and everybody wanted to have a pie, a piece of the cake, you know, from the, you know, it's under an EPC contract,
yes,
made up of a consortium, made of Saipem, Chiyoda, and then of Daewoo, and so not surprising, therefore, that the 2 export banks from Daewoo, from South Korea, are involved. And then also the
commercial banks as well.
Commercial banks, but importantly, the Italian export banks also involved. And the usual suspects for international lenders.
Right.
But most interestingly, you know, let me add this, because I spoke to 2 CEOs, Nigerian CEOs, about this project yesterday. And the money they are looking for was oversubscribed.
Really?
Internationally. So they didn't really need Nigerian banks' money.
Right, okay.
But because of local content.
Right.
Local content.
You had to add that.
You had to add 10 Nigerian banks.
Okay.
Because of local content.
Yes.
That's when we come to our land and shave our head. So you had to add the Nigerian banks.
Right,
and
okay.
So the Nigerian banks, you know, came 10 Nigerian banks. LIBOR plus 4.25.
Okay.
LIBOR, I think, currently 1 year LIBOR is about 0.75 today. So that's below 6%. You know, 8.25 to 9 years tenor. You know, and so it's a beautiful bride. The NNG, solid cash flows, risk rating top notch, firm takers for the products over the next several years.
Yes.
And, cash flow solid. Repayment terms not in doubt. So it's every lender's, dream.
Yes.
For the Nigerian banks, because of you can see it says LIBOR plus 4.25. The margins, the returns may not be much. But for the beauty parade,
right,
it's a beautiful thing to be lined up there and put it on your flag.
To be part of.
There. Yeah. So it's a very important thing for the country. You would have been hearing yesterday talked about the dividend issue.
Yes,
So
governors, yes.
Nobody talked about dividend from the refineries here. We haven't heard about refineries here or Ajokuta Steel. Or Mambila Power Plant.
Right.
Nobody talked about dividend from them. Yes. Because nothing succeeds like success.
Right, exactly.
So it's a good one for the country.
Fantastic. All right, so from the good news of NLNG to power, I want to ask you about this decision on the tariff.
We've talked about power here for a long time.
Yes.
The political side, I can understand our country, our politicians, pandering to the populace and saying in the light of the season, they shouldn't increase price. But we've gone through the problems of power in this program several times. And even the government recognizing the importance of power, have commissioned, the Siemens, there's a Siemens project that's going now on looking at power from the generation to the transmission and to the distribution. Yes. You do recall again that there was in the news yesterday that the MD of the transmission company has been fired and replaced. I'm sure also it's all towards enhancing the efficiency in that sector, because between the distribution, the generation and distribution, everybody believes that one of the weakest links is the transmission side. So the issue of power in Nigeria has been summarized several times. That lack of liquidity in the system, the fact that the power generated, the amount being paid for in return is very paltry. And you know that the distribution companies are the people who monetize the whole system for everybody.
Yes.
So that's basically it's very populist to say they shouldn't increase price and whatever.
Tariff, yes.
But I think the problems of the power sector are more fundamental than that. And it's not as simple as saying reverse the privatization. We need to look at, even if we bring angels from heaven to come and run the power plants in Nigeria, if the fundamental issues and the power regimes are not changed, right, and all the agreements signed from beginning as to rates and pricing and whatever are not implemented, nothing can happen.
Nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the COVID-19 pandemic, if things are not, if we don't see a positive outlook and this is extended, are they saying then that the tariff will never be increased if this part goes to the end of the year or into the next year?
We know that, like we said several times in the program, everybody in the chain has one problem or the other. Everybody's blaming one other person. The power people are blaming the government, lack of gas, blaming transmission, infrastructure. People are blaming the distribution. So everybody has some issue or the other.
Right.
And we need to be nationalistic, and then wear the cap and make the hard decisions required to make sure that we get the power that we require in this country.
Thank you for that, Chika. Okay, and finally, the Godwin Emefiele, Central Bank Governor, speaking to the industrial sector, saying that they have to support the growth of the economy and saying he won't support, at least for the CBN window, providing any FX for imports for items that can be produced here.
We have a list of 44 already.
Yes, the items
that already denied FX from CBN source. I guess you do recall that when he brought up his manifesto during this period and said we have to convert the COVID crisis into an opportunity for the country. It's just in line with that. But I'm happy that also in making that speech, he addressed a couple of issues. I've talked about it in this program several times. That's one of the major issues for manufacturing in our country. It's smuggling. Smuggling is the major, limiting factor, because we analyze the corporates and we'll find that a lot of times the revenues are down because cheaper substitutes from the Asian countries come into our country. And if you go to the supermarkets at the time, you'll find imported palm oil there.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have serious palm oil companies in Nigeria producing palm oil. Why do we have to use imported palm oil? Because all come through smuggling because it's banned.
Right.
So it's same thing. So every government institution must partner together to make this succeed. Of course, the elephant in the room: power.
I was about to ask you that. Yes,
power.
Thank you.
Most corporates tell you that 40% of their cost is power. It's power. So if you pull up the cost of power from not available, unreliable, and the damage is done to the equipment, it will make goods produced in Nigeria cheaper.
Right.
So those are the issues. Look at Apapa Port. We thought about it the other day when Guinea said that it cost them 40% more to bring their goods from Apapa Port to Ikeja, where their plant is.
Right.
So all those limiting factors must be addressed as we are pushing Nigeria back to industrialization, for the country.
And again, just to be clear for our viewers, though, if it's nice to say yes, we can produce everything in Nigeria, but power, you're saying, is adding to the cost of even those items that can be produced here.
That's why if you dump the cost of power on the products, so you find the imported substitutes land here cheaper. Land here cheaper,
right.
Better package sometimes, and better quality. And so, even if you're very nationalistic, why would you be paying something higher for a lower quality?
It's a long battle that we continue to have here in Nigeria. But Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu, we appreciate you coming through to discuss with us the success of the NLNG Ltd and the Train 7 that's going to be commissioned in 2025, along with, of course, the issues with the power sector and the governors and the decision, of course, being pushed ahead not to increase the tariff on July the 1st. And, of course, the central bank governor saying that we should produce everything that we can. We should not import FX for things that we can produce here in the country. Thank you so much, sir.